Joining me this evening is lawyer and activist Arun Agarwal. Thank you, sir, so much for joining on HW News. And your first thoughts at the judgment. Does it bring hope? Does it bring more disappointment to the voters?
Good evening, Niluji. The judgment was known. I don't think there was a single soul, a lawyer or a citizen, who doubted what the judgment would be. The child had already been born. The legitimacy could not be pronounced any other way. SIR was over, elections were conducted, BJP stole a thunderous victory in both the states where it mattered. Die was cast. And who was responsible for it? The key to that entire judgment lies in para 5, which is about that the constitution mandated 3 things, which he himself mentions. Of course, he goes into Vaishali as being the republic, Lachvis, this, that, which all that thing he should have cut out, because in Vaishali was far more evolved in those times than India is today. It was the first republic of India, of this thing, the Lichavis. He says 3 things: that the elections are based on a single fair electoral roll, universal suffrage, and an impartial election commission. These are his words in para 5. I asked a question to the Supreme Court. In the 75-year history, the impartiality of the election commission was not there. But that challenge was there before you. So where was the impartiality? You should have either decided that case or not heard this case. But you did the reverse. You didn't decide that case and heard this case. This is the single biggest anomaly of this entire thing. And he can't say that if the election commission was fair or was impartial, which is the fundamental premise of that election, which you have stated yourself, which raises further questions. That is it the election commission, is it only the election commission which was decided by chosen by the government? Or was there interference in choosing the judges who would hear this petition? I'm afraid the latter is also true. So we, the people of India, did not stand a chance before this Supreme Court. And there were many people who had predicted this fate the moment this entire entire hearing shifted from Justice Bhuiya's court to Justice Suryakant's court, and the matter was not heard before the preliminary list, the draft list was out, which was, I think, 27th or 28th, and it was postponed thereafter. And then constantly you find, lawyers complaining, list is not there, there is no transparency, and Justice Suryakant providing solutions instead of adjudicating the matter. What was the, what was the message that was conveyed? Let SIR go on at any cost. Whatever it happens, I will provide excuses like paralegal personnel whom I control. This legal aid services that will be invoked. Oh, you want the list, some transparency will be there. Is the election conduct for the election commission, or is it for the people of this country? How far was the goal of universal suffrage achieved? One thing that he doesn't mention and he doesn't decide, though he refers to it later on in his judgment, that when 3 months are taken to conduct annual revision, interim revision, or there's another word that is this thing, which was being done annually, then how could the entire SIR be conducted in 3 months? And one of the issues that was at this thing when Justice Bhuiya was there, that is the time adequate? And if the time is not adequate, then you go back and have the elections according to the 2024 list, and do not do it under the 2000 under the SIR. How long did SIR take then? Then when you come to the reason, the only reason that is provided is that there has been a change in demography and there has been a mass migration. Excuse me? Since 2003, you woke up in 2025? Some reason has to be given. This has been going on every year.
How is it going to unfold, Mr. Agarwal, that now that SIR's validity has been upheld? So, which means that now.
No, it was already, you see, it was already upheld through interim orders. That was the strategy adopted.
Right.
Now, to save face, you have to give a judgment. You have already, I mean, the horse has bolted. You have carried out the government's agenda. You have installed two governments against the will of the people, I dare say. And it is your legacy and epitaph that will be remembered forever.
So you initially mentioned that this is against the universal suffrage, which is the fundamental of the electoral democracy. So is this judgment against the universal suffrage totally?
Of course. You see, what happened when it comes to your convenience of taking things out of turn and taking it in PIL suo moto, was there not allegation of voter profile and voter deletion? You yourself acknowledge in your judgment that it is the least resourceful people who are most affected. You acknowledge that enumeration form was to be filled, and you had, in the court proceedings, you acknowledged that they were fraudulently filled, and you condoned that fraud by saying they were being proactive. They were not being proactive. The court was being proactive towards the government. How can you, I dare say, condone the fraud of all the EROs and the BLOs signing enumeration form on behalf of the electorate, and only to fulfill the statistics in the court that 95% have been complied with? Hey, look at yourself in the mirror. How will posterity remember you? Nobody lost any sleep last night. Everybody knew government has been formed. When the people come and say, one day you shout, oh, these freebies are destroying the economy, and when the losing party or whatever, which can't come to court till the elections are on, after election it comes, he says it is a policy decision. Go back to the High Court. You are crying over spilt milk. What does it show? You are a player. You are not a judge. And that is what is happening. This is exactly what happened when you call people cockroaches. Right. It is the contempt for the deprived that is seen every day, and siding with the capitalist. That is spoiling the international image of this country.
So, if I may understand from a common man's perspective, that what has the judgment on SIR done to the electoral democracy today, and how is the world going to view this judgment?
We have already fallen, and we are known as an electoral autocracy. I don't think he has read that. Had he read that word, that India is considered an electoral autocracy, it would have pinched his conscience.
But that's what this judgment has done. It has converted
exactly. Now. That is why it is called electoral autocracy. What they could not do through Form 6 and 7 when they were caught, they did through SIR. There was voter profiling. There were any number of allegations, their findings by the press in the public domain to show that votes were cut selectively in minority constituency, and yet you allowed it to happen and did not refer to it in the judgment. Done by an electoral commissioner whose impartiality was doubted by more than 50% of the population, because there is a pending twice impeachment notice in the Lok Sabha, as well as people came out on the street calling him a vote chore. Nobody has any good word to say about him. He behaves like an autocrat. Modi ji behaves like an autocrat, and now we find the same strain over here.
No, but
There is no check and balance left because the appointment is in the hands of the government.
no, but earlier also there were no checks and balances when this entire exercise was rolled out. But after today's judgment, has no offense meant to the post of the Chief Justice of India, but what has Justice Surikant done? Has he handed over all the powers on the platter to Ganesh Kumar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
All he has done is he has said that election commission will decide whose name will be on the voter list, and you are nobody, go to hell. That is all that this judgment says, and they are free to voter. Did he go into the software? If there was voter profiling, should not the election commission be held criminally liable? How is it that more votes of the minorities and anti-BJP votes are being deleted? How is it that you don't provide any remedy and you apply your district judges are there doing the work of ERO?
No, but the court also has said on the voters whose names were deleted that now election commission has to ensure that these names which have been deleted, they need to be addressed. Now, how is that issue going to be really addressed? You have to go to the competent authority, go through all the rigmarole.
No. Does he realize how much it costs to a poor person to get his vote restored? Has he quantified it? Has he quantified how much of money has been lost in SIR? Has he quantified? Is he willing to take responsibility that the electoral roll compiled after SIR is more accurate than the one that was existing before the SIR? These are all questions which are blowing in the wind. Who is going to answer it? That means election commission were rigging.
Mr. Agarwal, you said who's going to answer it, but who is going to ask these questions?
We have been asking. I am asking. I am leveling allegation.
We have been, yes.
I have been saying that Justice A.K. Goyal's letter was ignored while appointments were made. Who is that? You see, there are only three class of people who are afraid of the Supreme Court, of the judges. The first is the lawyers, for obvious reasons. Had it been pre-independence, they would not have been. All of them know what is the fact. They are not willing to state it. How judges are being selected and how they are being this thing. Second class is the political class, because they know that if they protest, all the court cases will go against them. As it is, you find that repeatedly in the last 15-20 years, Rahul Gandhi's citizenship has been challenged in 10-15 courts. Whereas this matter, if any strict judge was there, could have been disposed of in a week. But then they enjoy this. Somebody challenging over here, there, all the time. So the politicians are afraid. Otherwise, they will take away their membership like they did in case of Rahul Gandhi. Totally partisan judgment on defamation for 2 years. So they are afraid. And the third category that is not as afraid are the judges. Though honest judges are not, because they don't aspire for promotion. What will they do? Those judges who are on the borderline, who are being profiled by the government, who, if being called to the Supreme Court now that there are 6 vacancies, so only about 20-25 people will be, trying to fall in line to meet the government's criteria of being acceptable, so that they can be elevated, as the government is openly interfering. The name that it wants, if somebody supersedes 55 judges, they will clear next day, so that he can become Chief Justice at an appropriate time. The name that they don't want, they will not clear for years. This is what is happening. Everybody is keeping quiet. So we have to seriously examine how far our system has fallen back.